Welcome back to another episode of the Devil's Down Under. I'm your host, Bryce. Look, I've been away for a few weeks, just a few things life thrown at me. So, yeah, been away and apologies for all that. But look, we're back at it. In the time I've been away, not a lot has actually happened with Manchester United. We've played a few games. Obviously, we've beat Arsenal. We beat the team in Europa League called, what was it, Sheriff Tiraspol or something like that. Obviously, players are now on international break, so as what's happened, obviously, when Pogba was at the club, these comments are starting to come out now about disharmony in the club and players underperforming due to other players and things like that, which we'll get into a bit more later on as well. And yeah, look, we've got our next game on, well, Australian time Monday, so I'm assuming Sunday in England. Against Man City, which will be a really good test for us. Obviously, Manchester City is a team that's flying at the moment. So, yeah, let's get into it. So, let's just start off. Basically, Manchester United, the last game we played was actually about almost 2 weeks ago now, against Sheriff Tiraspol in the Europa League game. Pretty much a dull affair. Look, Ronaldo got the penalty. Sancho with a beautifully crafted goal. It was really good to see that. But other than that, it was back to not playing the way I expected Ten Hag to be playing at Manchester United, especially with 4 months under his belt. But obviously, you can only do what you can do with the players at his disposal. Now, the big thing to take... Well, there's two things I really want to bring about from that game. The defense, again, started with the usual back four. We had Delot, Varane, Martinez, as well as Malacia on the left. They just provided that platform for setting up the confidence in the rest of the team. It was hard for Sheriff Tiraspol to break them down, and as has been the case for a lot of teams that have come against that back four. Now, obviously, when we haven't played that back four, this leads to other issues of a lot to be desired in the way we played, bringing us back to the nightmares of last year, obviously, with Lindelof and Maguire leading the line. But yeah, it is concerning to see the lack of depth we have, especially when one of the players gets taken out of the back line and how disjointed that back line's looking. And you can see the lack of confidence in the rest of the team due to the back line as well. And it kind of oozes through the rest of the team in that regards. But look, not everything's negative. What I do want to bring up is the goal that Sancho scored. It was a nice goal. Look, the goal was well taken by Sancho. Dragged the play to his left when the play went sliding through on the other side, and placed it into the bottom corner. But the best bit about that was the build-up to that play. It was a lot of one-touch football, a lot of positive, quick moving of the ball, and that's the kind of the game that I expected to see Ten Hag playing with Manchester United. So it was really, really good to see the build-up to that play. And look, there's not much I can say. Look, that was probably the only really good highlight I have of the game. The goal was all good, but it was that build up to the actual goal itself that was really, really pleasing to see. And it is a nice little taste of what hopefully Ten Hag can bring moving forward with Manchester United. Obviously, Casemiro started on the bench again. Stuff I never thought I'd say is McTominay playing really well yet again in that position and that role that Ten Hag has got him doing. I don't know what kind of juju he's got going on with McTominay, but he seems to be a player reborn. And obviously, it's yet another manager that is choosing McTominay over anyone else, over Pogba, over Casemiro, over Donny van de Beek. It's something he does in training that we're finally starting to see on the pitch a little bit, albeit not in the role I predicted, in that box-to-box midfielder role. We're finally starting to see McTominay in that covering pivot defensive role, because obviously he's got Eriksen next to him, who can't be dropped at the moment. He's playing majestically well at the moment. So yeah, look, a lot of positives in that regards. Obviously, we go into the things like depth, and we played the last game against Real Sociedad. We played the half of our second string team, and we looked like the crappy Man United of last year. So it's good to see things progressing in that sense, but the lack of depth is very, very concerning. Now, obviously, we've talked about the defense being a really strong point. De Gea's distributions, actually, from my point of view, we're actually seeing more of it. So I think it's giving us a bigger sample size to see how De Gea's actually starting to play more with his feet. He may not have been encouraged to do that other managers. Ten Hag is definitely someone that likes to use his goalkeeper as that 11th player. So it's good to see more and more games. De Gea's coming a bit more comfortable, especially with the starting back four. On how they're playing and when to do certain things, when to go long, when to go short, the composure on the ball. So yeah, that's another pleasing thing to see. But look, we haven't had a game for 2 weeks. It's been quite some time. Now, one of the concerning things about this whole haven't played a game for 2 weeks, we've had our 2 games in the Premier League now postponed, which baffles me. I don't know, and please correct me if I'm wrong. I don't understand why. Certain Premier League games went ahead and there was others that didn't. Now, I know Manchester's game, obviously, I don't know if it had to do with London, obviously, being the games in London obviously got cancelled because that's where the Queen's Memorial was. God bless her soul. She was a lovely lady, I'm sure. And I'm sure the people in England are mourning, and so are the Commonwealth countries. Australia's a Commonwealth country. We actually had a public holiday for her passing yesterday. But yeah, look, a lot of games postponed. It's a lot of catch-up games needed for Manchester United. Now, the issue where I see this becoming an issue is World Cup starts mid-November. Man United are playing Europa League games on Thursdays, Premier League games on Sundays, and I think it's something for October. I think 30 days, October, June, November, April. Yeah, anyway, 30 days in October, I'm pretty sure, is it 31, whichever one it is. I think we have 10 games. That's averaging a game every 3 days. Now, this takes me back to what I talked about in our previous episodes, as well as earlier on as well. We don't have the depth. Varane can't be playing every game, especially not every 3 days. Every 3 days. He can't be playing every 3 days. Ronaldo can't play every 3 days. The best of them can't play every 3 days. Rashford can't play every 3 days. He's injury prone to an extent. Eriksen's 30 odd. He can't play every 3 games. So it's going to be really interesting to see how Ten Hag utilises the squad depth over the next month of October coming up. It's quite concerning because obviously we have seen the drop off in quality when we don't have that starting 11 with us. But I think we're going to cross that bridge and we will see kind of what the mettle of Manchester United is when that does come about. Sorry, that's desperately needed. I don't know if you can see out there, but well, you can't. It's a nice view and everything of the water, but it's miserable. It's quite cold actually. Nice and warm in the house, but not doing much outside. It's raining and overcast and shitty weather basically. So yeah, look, to add to the gloom of the fixture schedule of Man United, we've obviously, look, I'm not sure how Manchester United's going to play this. We obviously have to utilise the squad depth. It's come a bit sooner rather than I would have expected. Then obviously the headaches moving forward post the World Cup is where do we fit these other 2 postponed games in to the schedule, which is going to be jam-packed post the World Cup due to the World Cup happening mid-season as well. So it's going to be really, really interesting to see how Man United fit this into a busy schedule. And obviously the longer we stay in the Carabao Cup, the FA Cup, the Europa League, in the hunt for the top 4 for the Premier League, every single game is going to be competitive. Obviously, I'm hoping, as much as I like to say it, the Carabao Cup, I think we need to use the youth. We need to use that second string team as much as possible. The FA Cup, depending on how our goals are for the Premier League, I would like to see us hunt for trophies. So our best chances at that is probably the FA Cup as well as the Europa League. But yeah, look, squad depth's going to be very important, and we're going to have to rely on people like Fred and Van der Beek at the moment, who hasn't really shown us the form that he showed when he was playing with Ten Hag. So it's going to be really interesting to see what happens in that regards. Now, I'm not going to go too much into this because I don't really want to talk too much into it, but our next game, we do have Manchester City, so the Manchester Derby. Obviously, Arsenal still top of the league. Man City, it's going to be interesting to see how we handle our back four. Hopefully we do start with our back four with no injury concerns, and they pull out of the international fixtures with no injuries. But it's going to be really interesting to see. Obviously, the videos have surfaced of how Martinez pocketed Haaland back when he was playing at Ajax in the Champions League. I mean, the guy can't stop scoring. So it's going to be really interesting to see how us as a team deal with him. But obviously, they've got other players. They've got your De Bruyne. You've got you've got Bernardo Silva. They've got a lot of quality players, and goals can come from a lot of places. So it's going to be really interesting to see how Manchester United deals with that. Now, personally, in terms of changes, the only change from the starting 11 that I would like to see is it really pains me to say it, but Ronaldo probably on the bench, and we would need to start with hopefully Martial or Rashford up front again. Anthony obviously stays on the right, and on the left, Sancho. I just think, especially with Manchester City, they do play a high line. Ronaldo's not as quick as he used to be. Martial and obviously Rashford do have that pace. Obviously, Martial's benefit is the hold-up play and bringing other players into the game as well, which Ronaldo's been doing, but he doesn't have that breakaway pace anymore. It just seems to work for us at the moment. We look a bit disjointed in trying to figure out how Ronaldo plays, and he's been dropping really, really deep as well, which is another concerning thing. He's dropping. I mean, he was receiving the ball in the sixth position in some of the in the Europa League game against Tiraspol the other night, a week or two ago. And he doesn't have the legs to get to the top of the field again, as lightning as he used to be in the past. So, yeah, look, hopefully Rashford and Martial can start in that number 9 position up front. I'd like to say Martial, but obviously he's been off for quite some time. So, and Rashford's been in. Look, I'm going to say for what he has produced in the last year or two, it's been pretty good form for him. So yeah, look, one of those two hopefully starts up front. In the midfield, I just don't see Casemiro starting. McTominay's fully deserved his position in the starting 11 at the moment, and it's in terms of where we're talking about the squad depth and stuff. Yeah, having a person like Casemiro coming off the bench at the moment, hopefully pushing for that starting 11 berth sooner rather than later. But on current form, it is very hard to drop McTominay. Obviously, Eriksen picks himself. I don't see Van der Beek pushing out Bruno in that 8 position. And then obviously the back 4 and 5 with De Gea picks himself as well. So the only real changes would be up front that I would be going with to start the game against Manchester City. Obviously, we've got the quality of depth off the bench. That way we'd have Ronaldo, we'd have Casemiro, Maguire, no. Obviously, we don't have Eric Bailly anymore. But yeah, look, we'd have the attacking options at least. And the midfield, we have those options. Defense, I wouldn't really want to change. But Maguire is the captain, and I can see him coming on to as it has been for the last couple of minutes again down the line. Which takes me, well, before we get into that, I just want to go, look, the score prediction for the game, I am going to go 3-1 to Manchester City. I know we've been playing well, but Manchester City is on another level. And I know our defense has been playing really well. I just don't see us offering that kind of performance that for Manchester City, where we're going to win the game, especially when we're playing with a high line and creating the opportunities to score against them. We do have a good defense as well. But yeah, look, pains me to say it, but I'm going to go 3-1 to Manchester City. I do apologise to the people who are hating on me right now for predicting that, but look, it's a prediction at the end of the day. Now, I was just going to go into this. Obviously, we talked about Maguire coming off the bench most likely. These are reports of him coming out saying via an intermediary source that the reason he played bad is because of the players around him, not suited to his game style and things like that. And that's why he plays well for England. But he may not have said it, but he hasn't come out and refuted the claims as well. As captain of Manchester United, if you're not coming out saying these comments are false, to me, it's true. So I don't care what people are saying. Oh, yeah. It's not him saying it directly, or it is him saying it, but whatever. As captain of Manchester United, for him not to come out and say, this is not me, this is wrong, this is the media pulling up bullshit, speaks volumes. And that is why I do not want him being the captain of Manchester United. Yeah, he may have shit for me, he may have a thing, but he is too scared to speak to the media outside a turn. Him getting picked for the England squad shows Southgate's lack of merit, choosing players of merit, where he said, players aren't playing enough. Like Sancho's been playing really well, hasn't been chosen in the team. Rashford's actually been playing pretty decently, hasn't been chosen in the team. Yet Maguire has played a handful of games from the bench and is getting chosen in the England squad again. So yeah, him not choosing favourites is kind of what Solskjaer was doing with Manchester United last year, and it's probably why England's going to fail again at the World Cup. As for Australia, we played a game against New Zealand last night and it was bloody woeful. We're not going to do anything. Australia's not going to do anything at the World Cup. I think everyone knows that, especially in the group we have. But yeah, look, as a captain of Manchester United, not to come out and refute those claims if they were not true and they were false, speaks volumes for the character of captain material that Maguire is. But yeah, look, I'm looking forward to the game and getting the games coming in thick and fast over the next few weeks leading up to the World Cup. It's going to be good to see a game every couple of days. It's going to test us, obviously, with our squad depth, which we all know is not the greatest at the moment. But yeah, look, thank you very much for joining me again. I'm sure I'll be back next week with a few... we're going to have a few games before then. So hopefully we can get the win against Manchester City. Hopefully the squad depth starts to hold up. And thank you very much for joining me. Enjoy your weekend. And see you guys again. Please like and subscribe down below, obviously, if you like what's happening. And share it on the socials as well. Thanks, guys. See you later. Bye.